The kidnapped Anna gets unmasked and appears at Brennan's office. The WSB director claims he's attempting to spare her from a life sentence in Steinbauer, since she was about to fail a level 5 op. Jack suddenly for transparency to protect Anna from blowing everything up. He tells her that Henry Dalton is working on a cold fusion research. Anna recognizes this is where Joss comes in, as Jack requires a college student to infiltrate the laboratory. He verifies that Joss and Vaughn are partners who are on their way to Croatia for a reconnaissance mission. Anna calls him a bastard for putting Joss in danger, and she also mentions that her grandchild is involved in everything. He cautions her that any meddling on her part will be considered treason, which the former double agent is familiar with. Anna understands she has no way of stopping him, but when Carly discovers he has recruited her daughter, she will be furious. Anna says they've known each other for a long time. She's seen him with other women, but never as he is with Carly. He has fallen for her and jokes that there is a first time for everything. What will Michael do now that he knows? Dante and Michael return to the Q mansion after a nighttime run. Michael astounds his brother with his suspicions that Willow is the person who targeted Daisy. He believes the entire tormenting of Sasha and Daisy was retaliation for Willow losing her children. If he's correct, this changes everything. Willow weeps to Chase discovers Willow at work in the hospital. Willow is delighted to see him because she has no idea how her children are, and was hoped he would tell her about them. He tells her about them, and she bursts into tears because she realizes how much her children are changing and how much she is missing out on. She understands that she has a lot of work to do before the visitation court, and she must take responsibility for her role in all of this. Willow understands that going to Carly's was a mistake, as was everything else she had done in the previous year. She must find a method to undo the damage she has done. He encourages she keep trying with Michael and Carly, and they will eventually see the good in her, as he does. Carly and Lucas make nicey. Carly finds Lucas in the doctor's lounge, and gives him his mail before scolding him for ignoring her. She asks him to return home. Lucas informs her that he spoke with Felicia about how their mother handled Sunny, and concluded he couldn't lose her for the guy. Carly can't leave Sunny out of her life, but she does apologize for snapping at him and disparaging his connection with Marco. Lucas accepts her apologies, and Carly suggests that they invite Marco around for supper. Lucas says he's not going back in. Carly asks, why not? Lucas doesn't want Donna to notice the tension between him and Sunny while he's present. It's also about time he got his own house. They embrace. She also returns his key to her home for important events such as holidays. Later, as Carly leaves, she goes past Willow and Chase, attempting to ignore Willow. Willow, however, requests that she talk for a minute. What happens next for Curtis and Portia? Curtis and Portia have dinner at the Metro Court, and she wonders if this is a celebration or the Last Supper. He calls it a celebration since Drew has agreed to a truce. He acknowledges Drew still has the evidence on her as insurance, but as long as the peace is maintained, they are fine. Portia wonders if Drew is still eager to fight for their marriage now that he has been neutralized. Curtis says that's what tonight's about, reconnecting with each other. Their topic shifts to Trina and Kai's fallout. Curtis realized he needed to give Portia a second opportunity after Trina refused to give him one. Tracy receives terrible news at another table. Tracy informs Sidwell and Marco that they have recently uncovered that some of Sunny's investments were laundered. Sidwell exclaims, "No." Tracy adds that they have terminated relations with him and refunded his cash, but they will report him to the authorities. Sidwell informs her that this would be a mistake. That's when acting DA Turner interrupts to speak with Marco. She knows his statement was made to cover up Sunny's kidnapping of him. Marco stands by his word, so she apologizes for her interruption and goes. Tracy realizes Sunny caused Sidwell to withdraw from Measure C by removing his son. Nonetheless, she plans to go to the police with the information she has on Sunny in order to finally get rid of him. Marco and Sidwell point out that she has been holding on to those files for a very long time, which will not look good and will result in a public controversy and client distrust and deception. Tracy grumbles, "Forgive me if I won't be taking advice from a man who lives in a faux medieval fortress and is friends with Lucy Coe." She leaves abruptly. Alone, Sidwell wonders why his son let Sunny off the hook. Marco understands that attempting to blame him for the kidnapping will be difficult. Sidwell informs his son that he has something unique planned, and when he fires this weapon, Sunny's game is up. Will Jason follow Sunny's advice? Jason and Sunny relax by the pool after their softball game. Sunny notices that Jason was not himself on the field, and Jason confesses that his thoughts have been on Britt, whom he believes is still alive based on recent experiences. After being filled in, Sunny states that even if Britt survived the hook assault, she was unwell, didn't want people to see her die, and planned to leave town. Sunny asks Jason what he intends to do now that he knows. Jason is not going to do anything because Britt chose to disappear, therefore he will respect her decision. Sunny wonders if Britt deserves to know he's back from the grave as well. Turner interrupts to congratulate the men on their victory tonight. She accuses Sunny of rigging the game, which is his expertise. She claims the PCPD will face his team tomorrow, and she will be prepared for every trick he has. Sunny threatens her that they will beat her fair and square, to which she responds, "That will be a first." She then walks away. In the show's last moments in the Metro Court, Curtis admits that Portia's refusal to change Michael's exams, and her refusal to back down against Drew helped him realize how much he still loves her. They toast to their future. Marco asks his father what he has on Sunny. Sidwell admits that he blackmailed the judge into giving Michael custody, and the big untraceable amount in her account may indicate that Sunny bought her off. Marco believes that it would give Willow an advantage, and Michael would kick Sunny out of his life for costing him his children. If Sunny wants to prevent this, Sidwell advises he must play ball when the time is right. At the Q&A, Michael informs Dante that he is more certain than ever that Willow was responsible for what happened to his daughter. He's not ready to act on his intuition. Daisy is currently safe, but Wiley and Amelia are not safe with their mother. Willow apologizes to Carly in the ICU for the inappropriate scene she created at her residence. Willow sobs that she is so sorry for everything and regrets not listening to anyone about Drew. Carly recalls hearing this apology spiel from her sister Nellie before. Carly informs Willow that, even if she believed her, she is not the person Willow should apologize to. At the pool, Sunny informs Jason that Turner is preparing a case against him, but he is preparing his own. Every public altercation with him demonstrates prejudice, requiring her to recuse herself from any case she files against him. Finally, Anna asks Jack how he would deal with his lover Carly if this operation fails and Joss is injured or killed. Jack claims that all Joss and Vaughn need to do is gather information about the resort, and they'll return unscathed from Dalmatia. Anna recalls Jason remarking that the emblem on Britt's bag was from a resort in Dalmatia. She experiences an aha moment. Laura makes an off-the-record statement to Dante in the following General Hospital episode. Tracy declares a change of plans. Willow wants Isaiah to keep something between them. At the pool, Michael informs Chase that he will not be having this conversation. Jason warns Albrecht not to get between Rocco and his parents. Carly offers to help Lulu on one condition. Turner warns Sunny, "Don't you dare." General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, August 6th, state that Michael Corinthos will shut down Harrison Chase, while Isaiah Gannon is under pressure to hide a secret from Willow Tate. Jason Morgan will also advise Liesl Albrecht to back off, so let's talk about what's next in Port Charles. Laura Collins will request Dante Falconeri's assistance with anything after he arrives for a meeting. Laura will insist that it be fully off the record, so Dante should give in and aid her if he can. Tracy Quartermain will give some huge news and disclose a change in plans. Tracy's conversation with Jen Sidwell and Marco Rios may lead her to reconsider turning over the evidence against Sunny Corinthos to the detectives. Willow will appear nervous on Jich as she asks Isaiah to keep something between them, in other words, to lie for her. Will Isaiah find anything that points to Willow being the one who entered the nursery and put Daisy Gilmore in the wrong bassinet? Even if Isaiah notices another strange clue, Willow will do her best to silence him, maybe leaving him with doubts about all the secrecy. Michael will reject Chase's attempt to approach him and advocate on Willow's behalf. Michael will caution that they will not have this conversation, but Chase may persist on protecting Willow and her right to be there in the children's life. Of course, Michael might reveal that Willow is now his top suspect in the Daisy Stalker case. Will Chase buy it if Michael reveals the theory he just told Dante? Next, Jason Morgan will tell Albrecht not to interfere with Rocco Falconeri and his parents. Liesl may argue that Rocco came to her for information about Britt Westbourne and stories from when he was a kid, Therefore she is simply answering his queries. Despite this, Jason will press Albrecht to back off, while Lulu Spencer asks Carly Spencer to become an ally, presumably in terms of getting rid of Albrecht and reducing her grip on Rocco. Carly will consider assisting Lulu on one condition, but we have little doubt Lulu will comply with whatever she requests. Over with Rocco. He will open out to Danny Morgan and seek help. Whether Rocco accepts it or not, he'll appreciate having Danny to talk to about Britt, Albrecht, and all the drama that's been going on with Dante and Lulu. Meanwhile, Ada Justine Turner will have another contact with Sunny, uttering a "don't you dare," as they argue about the forthcoming softball game. Sunny enjoys exchanges like this one because he wants to create a circumstance in which Ada Turner needs to withdraw from his case due to bias. However, there will be a scene in Wednesday's GH episode that may surprise both Sunny and Justine. According to General Hospital teasers, Justine and Sunny will meet in an unexpected way, so stay tuned for more information on if this is the beginning of a twisted romance. Jack had always been the sort to chatter excessively. He had a penchant of disclosing more than he should, whether it was due to anxiety, arrogance, or simply filling silences with words. Anna had gotten accustomed to tuning him out during their informal discussions, nodding politely while he rambled on about irrelevant topics. But on this particular evening, something about the way he spoke piqued her interest, not because of what he said explicitly, but because of what he unintentionally let escape. They were at Kelly's, sitting at a back table with the late summer sun filtering through the windows. Jack had ordered his regular, black coffee and a slice of apple pie, and began into a rant about the current police activity. He wasn't on the force himself, but he had acquaintances who were, and he had a flair for extracting information from them. Anna had only partially listened until he mentioned a warehouse near the docks. Apparently, there's been some unusual traffic at that location, with people coming and departing at all hours. And get this. One of the patrolmen reported finding a broken bracelet near the rear loading door. A charm bracelet. You don't think that's related to the Sasha situation, do you? Anna's body froze. Jack didn't notice at first. He was too preoccupied with stabbing at his pie and moaning about how the city was going to hell. But her mind had focused on one detail, the bracelet. Daisy had worn a charm bracelet. It was one of her hallmark accessories, which she'd had since she was a child. If one like it turned found in a questionable location, it wasn't a coincidence. It was a clue. She maintained a neutral expression as she asked him to repeat what he'd said, and Jack, unaware of the gravity of his words, joyfully elaborated. Yes, it was silver with a small heart charm. Probably garbage, but they bagged it anyhow. I am shocked it did not make the report. Perhaps they are keeping it secret, you know? Anna nodded, playing along. But her thoughts were already racing. If the warehouse was linked to Sasha's trauma, and now possibly Daisy's, the pieces were beginning to fall into place. Despite the official claim that the two incidents were unrelated, they always felt linked to her. Now Jack's casual statement was dividing them, and Anna wasn't about to ignore it. She excused herself from the table, claiming that she needed to make a phone call. When she got outside, she took out her phone and called Michael. He picked up on the first ring. I need to see you, she added, without bothering with pleasantries. Now. 20 minutes later, Michael met her at the Coeur d'Alene boathouse with a sour scowl. Since Sasha's breakdown and Daisy's disappearance, he had become a man with a goal. The cops dismissed it as unrelated trauma, but Michael knew better. He could sense in his bones that someone had planned the suffering both women had endured, and he was coming closer to figuring out who. Anna relayed what Jack had said, leaving nothing out. She saw Michael's jaw clench with each word. That bracelet, he said softly. Sasha described it once. Daisy got her one like that years ago with matching bracelets. If hers turned up near that warehouse, then Daisy's been there, Anna concluded for him. And Sasha might have been too. Michael took a long breath, attempting to remain grounded. He was used to handling economic transactions, not criminal plots. However, when it came to his loved ones, he would not let anything go. He requested Anna to accompany him, and the two of them went to the warehouse. They arrived after dark, with the area around the docks calm except for the slow lapping of water and the odd rustle of wind. The warehouse loomed in the darkness, partly covered by shadows. Michael took out a flashlight and led the way around the perimeter. Anna followed closely behind, her senses on full alert. They discovered Jack's specified location near the loading dock. Anna noticed something sparkly among the cigarette butts and scuff marks. She knelt down and picked up the small silver charm in the shape of a heart. It was scratched but recognizable. "Daisies," she whispered. Michael grabbed it from her, his fingers quivering slightly. The sight of it seemed to arouse something in him, perhaps a memory or a new burst of rage. They didn't have a warrant and Michael wasn't going to breach the law, but the discovery was significant enough to merit further investigation. He called Dante and told him what had happened, and Michael was relieved that the detective did not ignore the information. Dante agreed to look into it and see them the next morning. That night, neither Michael nor Anna slept well. Michael found himself pacing the Quartermain home, rehashing every interaction he'd had with Sasha in the previous weeks. Her dread, her perplexity, the way she clutched her arms about herself as if trying to keep herself together. It all made sense now. Someone had targeted her. Somebody had made her feel unsafe. Meanwhile, Anna stayed up late reading old case files, looking for anything related to the warehouse. As the hours passed, a pattern started to form. The titles differed, but the tactics were quite similar. Isolation, psychological manipulation, and fear. Whoever did this wasn't just a thug. They were organized, methodical, cruel. By the morning, Dante had secured a warrant and joined them at the warehouse. With help, they broke down the doors and searched the interior. It didn't take long to locate evidence. Cuffs, syringes, and abandoned garments. In one corner, there was even a mattress with a faded flowered sheet similar to the one Sasha had described in a haze of trauma. It was real. Everything had been real. For Michael, it was both a vindication and a nightmare. Knowing that someone had purposefully wounded Sasha made his blood boil. But more importantly, it rekindled his drive to discover the individual responsible. Dante discovered surveillance equipment buried in one of the walls. A camera feed that had long been disconnected, but still contained memory cards. These would take time to process, but they could be the key to everything. Anna inspected the building's plan, noting the exits and changes to the space. It was evident that it had been utilized to maintain long-term control over someone, or several persons. Michael remained outside, struggling to breathe. The recollections were intense. He could see Sasha's expression, her shaking hands, and the catch in her voice when she declared she didn't feel comfortable. And now he understood why. Later that day, they returned to the station to have the contents of the memory cards checked. What they discovered was horrifying. Blurry footage of Sasha and Daisy at separate moments, locked, drugged, and afraid. But it also depicted someone else. A man. He was always cautious to keep his face partially concealed, but Michael recognized the walk, posture, and voice in a single brief film. It was someone from the past. Someone they had entrusted. Michael looked at the TV in bewilderment. "It's Ford," he announced finally. "Ford Collins." Anna's gaze sharpened. Wasn't he the one who volunteered at the rehabilitation facility? Michael nodded. And he was Daisy's friend. She used to mention how kind he was, how safe she felt around him. The treachery was like a punch in the gut. Ford had infiltrated their lives, professing to be a savior while orchestrating the identical pain he claimed to help alleviate. Michael could not believe he had missed it. But now that he knew, he wouldn't let Ford get away. Dante started a manhunt. Ford had already vanished, but they had ample evidence, bank records, camera footage, and a list of identities he had used in other places. Anna worked with local officials, while Michael undertook his own investigation, calling in favors and relying on media contacts to put pressure on the case. Meanwhile, Sasha was slowly healing. She hadn't been told everything. Michael wanted to keep her safe until they got Ford in prison, but she could feel the difference. Michael was more focused and resolute, and Anna checked in with her constantly, gently urging her back to strength. Daisy, who had been discovered hiding in upstate New York under an assumed identity, was brought back into the fold. She was weak and emotionally guarded, but seeing Michael and Anna allowed her to breathe more easily. They'd found her. They believed her. And that was enough for now. Together, the three of them cobbled together a more complete picture of what had occurred. Ford had exploited them both, gaslighting Sasha and isolating Daisy. He wielded compassion as a sword and trust as a shield. But his arrogance had become his downfall. He hadn't anticipated Michael's tenacity or Anna's strong intuition. In the end, Jack's loose lips shattered the case wide open. What appeared to be an unrelated statement turned out to be the thread that connected everything. Anna made a point of thanking him, quietly of course, and without showing how much he had helped. She knew better enough to make him suspect, but she also understood the importance of listening, even when you believe there is nothing to hear. Ford was eventually apprehended attempting to reach the Canadian border. When he was hauled back to Port Charles in handcuffs, his face was defiant, not remorseful. But Michael did not flinch. He addressed him full on and silently promised that this man would never injure anyone else again. The aftermath was a mess. There were interviews, judicial proceedings, and therapeutic sessions. However, there was also healing. Sasha regained her footing, firmer this time and more grounded. Daisy sought treatment and began to mend her relationship with her mother. Michael remained by their side, providing quiet comfort and unshakable protection. Anna, too, discovered something in the ordeal. A newfound feeling of purpose. She'd been seeking justice for years, but this case reminded her why she did. Not for headlines or praise, but for those who were unable to fight back on their own. Port Charles continued on as it usually did, but the scars remained. The strength, however, remained consistent. Because in the aftermath of pain they discovered truth. In the solitude they discovered voices. And the unraveling revealed how strongly they were connected together.